So welcome to another episode of Three Guys in a Bottle of Bourbon. This is a special episode, so obviously I'm not with Chuck and Brian like normal. Luckily, I am with my wife, Heather. So the reason we're doing this is I got really lucky the other day, and I was able to score 3 bottles from New Riff with their fall release, which I have right here. So we were able to get the Maltster Wheated, the Bourbon Rye, and the one that sold out really quick, the Balboa Rye. So what we wanted to do is open them up, give them a try, and let you guys know so that, yeah, you guys can see if it's worth opening, if it's worth finding. There are around every now and then to give you an idea. So we are going to start with the wheat, then go to the rye bourbon, and then finish the night with which is probably going to be the best, the Balboa Rye. So here we go.
Right. So you get to see my priceless reactions tasting this bourbon. I am more of a wine drinker, but I'm starting to learn about all these different flavors through the wine tasting. So I'm going to apply it to the bourbon. We'll see what I can identify.
Yep, she figures if I'm going to spend all this money on it, she might as well drink it some too.
I mean, I do like bourbon cocktails. So, mint juleps, one of my favorites.
Yes. Yes, she's more the cocktail one.
Okay.
All right. It's got a really pleasant nose.
It is very nice. Ooh. I like that.
Yes.
Probably a lower proof.
It is.
That's probably why I like it.
So the good thing about New Riff, if you have not had New Riff, I highly recommend you going and finding some. All their stuff is bottled and bond. So this is bottled and bond, which means that it's 100 proof, which is that lower proof she's picking up on, which is really nice. I think the 100 to the 110 range is your perfect just everyday sipper range. And then this one, the wheated one, is a 65% corn, 18% Bohemian 4 malted wheat. So that's where the malted stuff's coming in. 10% unmalted wheat and 7% dark wheat. And so bottled and bond means it has to be aged at least 4 years. This is actually a 5-year.
I love all the sweet notes I'm getting. I can't identify them all, but it's the classic caramel.
Yes. So on the nose, you're definitely getting that. It almost smells a little bit like a beer with the malts that you're getting. So if you've ever had a little homebrew type stuff, you get really malty type of beer.
If I say I'm tasting graham cracker, does that sound right at all?
Yeah. So it's definitely easy sipping, low proof, like Heather picked up on. And I would say it's get that vanilla caramely on the tongue, but then the palate's really interesting because you get a little bit of spice coming in, but you get that oak. You get a ton of oak, and it even kind of dries your palate out a little bit.
Yeah, but it's just really light. Like I could sip this. A lot of bourbons you hand me, I'm like, no, I'm good. This is nice though.
Yes, just like tonight, usually when I get a new bourbon, I get really excited like Christmas and I can't stop.
Here, taste this.
And so I run down, I open it up, try it. I'm like, oh, I think that's really good. And I have her try it. And then I either get a meh or a, yeah, that's actually really good.
Yeah. A lot of the higher proof ones, which you like, you shove in my face and all I can smell is alcohol.
Yep. Which you don't get that at all with this. This is a really good product they've done. And I know as of this morning, if you're part of their whiskey club, so that's all you have to be part of. And they did a spring release this year, which was the controversial one. They did the backsetter is what they did it. So they put some peated and smoked flavors in their stuff, which we were able to try. Her dad, my father-in-law, got both, and they are amazing. A lot of people think they're not very good, so they're very controversial. And then these 3 are their winter release that they're doing.
We visited once, and it's a really nice place.
It is.
We did not get a chance to do a tour on that particular day. Of course, that was almost a year ago.
Yeah, pre-COVID times. So yeah, so New Riff is actually in Newport, Kentucky. So right across the river from Cincinnati. They have this beautiful distillery, and actually, you probably can't see it, on the back of any New Riff bottle, they actually have an image of it, and they have that copper still right there in a glass tower, so you can see it. It's very beautiful. The really cool thing about their tasting bar, and when you go there, which is what we did, is you can do a flight of all their single barrels. So I have a single barrel bourbon back there and a single barrel rye. And as you know, with single barrels, it's always like, is this going to be a good one? Is it going to be a bad one? You don't know. The great thing there is you can try them all and you can find that one that really speaks to you.
Yeah. I like the card that they gave us with the different notes for the several different bourbons. And you could sample each one and find your favorite and then pick that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've got a really, really amazing experience for such a new distillery. They've only been around for 6 years, 7 years, something like that. And they are definitely one of those small distilleries that you don't hear a lot about. They're slowly getting bigger. And if you haven't picked up a bottle of New Riff, you really should pick up a bottle of New Riff.
Absolutely. We had to get the rye. I'm a little more into ryes because I like a little more spice. Of course, he likes the sweet caramel flavors that come out in bourbon, but you know, in a hot toddy, I like to add a little rye. So.
Yep, you like your hot toddies, which is where that rye comes out big time.
Yes. I'm not going as fast as you. Sorry.
It's all right. So I would say the wheated is definitely a keeper. That was a very good pickup.
While I finish, why don't you explain how their pickup process went during COVID times?
Yeah, that's true. So with the whiskey club, so if you join the whiskey club, you just give them your email, everything like that. And then they tell you ahead of time that they're going to start selling it. You, like everything, you go online, get it, buy it, and then you just set up a pickup time. Super easy. Just drive over there, walk up, give them your name, show them your driver's license. They load them all three up, drop them in your car, good to go. So the whole process, I think, took, I don't know, 30 seconds, minute, something like that. Had my 3 bourbons. The hardest part was driving home and not trying them right away.
Knowing you had it. Couldn't try it.
Yep.
Which is why you immediately called your buddy and said, hey, I got to try this bourbon with you. Because you can't drink alone.
Nope. So. Yes, Chuck got a couple good bourbons that day too. So last night we had a Zoom call that we just did with each other because Brian never buys bourbon. So Chuck got a couple, barrel bourbons that will also be in a future episode. And they were, according to him, very, very good.
Ooh, that's a lot of bourbon.
Pour smaller next time.
Please. Again, as a new mom who does not drink liquor, really, I'm probably going to be on the floor.
All right. So this next one is the normal bourbon that has rye. So it's not a wheated mash bill.
I didn't have that much left.
I'll help you out there.
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
So again, this has been aged at least 5 years. It is 65% corn, 30% malted rye, and 5% malted barley. So again, what makes these guys special compared to other stuff and why they're called Maltster is because they do a lot with the malting. So they malted the rye where normally you wouldn't malt your rye, which gives it those new unique flavors, which is why they're actually called the Distillery New Riff, is they're trying to do a new riff or a new way of doing the classic bourbons and everything like that. They always want to put a spin on it.
A new riff on an old tradition.
Yep.
That's the slogan. This one smells spicier.
Yes.
Lots of pepper.
That rye definitely comes through. But it's still got a subtle malt to it. Which I'd say is it almost has a beer smell.
Ooh, that's nice too. Not quite as sweet as the other one, but it's still so smooth and yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
So the rye definitely comes in on the finish. You get that the spicy notes that you would get in a traditional bourbon that has rye in it, opposed to a wheated bourbon that generally doesn't. But the malt definitely kind of brings it all together, I want to say. There's no like high or low peaks. It just kind of slowly transitions across the way. Gives you get the good nose, but I wouldn't say it's a dramatic nose.
I'm gonna bring out my wine terms, but it's very complex. Like there's a lot, like each time I smell it, I'm getting something different on the nose each time.
Definitely got a lot of fruit notes in it, I'd say. And then as with your classic bourbons, you definitely get the honey, the caramel, you get all those sweet notes on the palate. And then that finish just starts to coat that whole tongue, come in nice on the sides, and gives you that spice.
I like it better than the first one. Definitely.
I would say if I'm just looking for a nice drink and I don't want complexity, I just, I want that evening bourbon without a lot going on. The first one, like you're never going to go wrong. You're never going to be disappointed with the first one. If you're in the mood for a little bit more, you want a little bit of complexity, like you were saying. You want a little bit of that spice, that Kentucky hug. You're going with the second one here.
And you might make fun of me, but I think it would be really good in a cocktail. With all the complexities, and you could have something added in your cocktail that's going to bring out some different flavor in this bourbon.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm getting a lot of kind of the honey that you mentioned, but also a little lemon. You mentioned fruit, maybe a little citrusy flavor in there too. So I'm thinking like my hot toddy could go really well with this.
Well, we've said it before. We're going to say it again. Drink the bourbon how you like it. Just please don't put my pappy in a cocktail.
I wouldn't dream of doing that.
But yeah, we are 2 winners so far. So we got to wait and see the Balboa rye if that's going to do it too.
So what was the proof on the second one?
100 proof again, because bottled and bond.
Yeah, I can tell it's lower. It's part of why I like it.
Yep. Oh yeah. And yeah, whether you're new into bourbon, old into bourbon, I think everyone can pretty much agree, like that 100 to 110 proof, while it's not as high as when you get into it a lot longer, you really like that high proof stuff because you get a lot of flavors, complexities, and everything like that. The 100 proof to 110 proof range, you just can't go wrong. Like if they can stand up there, it's an everyday drinker, because as much as I love my Elijah Craig barrel proofs and other high proof stuff I have back here, like my Four Roses barrel strength, which are great. And I bought a bottle today and I'm super excited about. There are times you don't want that barrel strength, or you need stuff to work up to the barrel strength. And these are excellent ones to do that with. And share with friends who are not ready, because you always want to get more people interested in bourbon. And so you got to start lower. Fun fact that I can say because he's not here, Chuck started with Basil Hayden's.
Yes, he did.
And he thought Basil Hayden's was the best bourbon there was.
He did.
So if you want to leave a comment for Chuck, which I would highly recommend, ask him about his Basil Hayden's experience.
Remember when we even got him, what was it, the 10-year Basil Hayden
Yes,
too?
he got so excited when I found 10-year Basil Hayden, which is very high priced for a okay quality bourbon. He's changed, so we're happy about that. All right. So the final one is the Balboa Rye. So the Balboa Rye actually came out last year. This was their first limited release bourbon, or rye technically, that they've ever done. And I was lucky enough at a local bar here to get a taste of it last year.
Yes, he made such a big deal out of it last year. I mean, I distinctly remember this name, Balboa Rye, because he kept saying, like, I've got to find this.
Yes.
It was like his unicorn. And where did you end up tasting it?
It was next door at Third Turn.
I figured.
So,
yes.
Yeah, so Third Turn's a local brewery that we love. So shout out to them. Not that if you're not from the Louisville area, you're not going to find it. They opened a bourbon bar next door, and they had it. And I was lucky enough to get a pour of it. I actually finished off the bottle. It lived up to the hype. So as soon as I saw they were releasing it again, I had to get a bottle. And it is an amazing rye.
I really don't even remember if you let me taste it. Normally, when you get a bourbon that's really good, at least you let me have a sip of it. And I don't even remember if you let me do that. I think you just finished it all.
Yep, I had it all by myself.
Like, well, I guess it was good.
Oh yeah, the nose on this is the best of the night.
It's still, like, you know, that peppery, like, I can tell this is a rye for sure.
Yeah, but you, behind all the pepper, you still get the honey, almost like tea notes is a little bit on there on the nose.
Yeah, this one is more earthy. So like you said with the tea, and there comes my wine references again. It's for earthy flavor. Yeah, earthy, oaky.
Everything you'd want from a rye. So you get all a little bit of a sweet, the earthy notes, and then you just get that spicy finish that lets you know you're drinking a rye. You get the rye notes, the herbal notes, just tons and tons of spices right there. Nothing too harsh though, because
they're just all like mingling in there together. You get like that little bit of sweetness in there, just a lot of that kind of bold, earthy, the floral. I'm like, oh yeah, now that you mentioned that, I totally smell and taste that. And then the pepperiness of the rye. It's very good.
It is.
Is it just like you remembered it?
Might be a little bit better because it's my bottle now. This might be the bottle that doesn't make the future episode when I share with Brian and Chuck. I might have dropped the Balboa Rye because we will do a future tasting with the normal 3 guys in a bottle of bourbon. Though I'm sure in the comments, and you guys will say that you prefer Heather to the 3 of us guys, because we all know the females are better.
I mean, I would like to say I have a sophisticated palate and I can, you know, pick out all these flavors, but
yeah.
I would probably be there if I tasted as much bourbon as you have tasted lately. Intense training on your palate.
Yes. Because it takes time. See our last video. I'll link it up above here.
Usually you say link down below.
I like above. I got a lot of room up here because I'm short. I don't want to bring people down.
Link it up above.
Yeah. Please hit subscribe if you like this. All that fun stuff. Hit the thumbs up. All that things we need to continue doing this.
Definitely, like, you can tell that one's a rye. Like the last one had like that pepperiness, but this one's like, oh yeah, you know it's a rye.
Yeah. And then, since I didn't say, it is aged 4 years, which is the minimum to be bottled and bond. And it's 95% Balboa rye, and then the 5% malted rye. So, but yeah, I personally, for me, the winner of the night is the Balboa rye, which is unfortunately sold out. If you can find a bottle, I would never hesitate to buy that. If I found a second bottle sitting on the shelf, I would buy it and get in trouble, but still buy it. And these two guys, these Maltsters, are really cool to have on your shelf. Definitely nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, they're unique.
Unique and great to have in a conversation piece. So, which one's your favorite?
So the Balboa rye is very good, but I feel like I liked that second Maltster better, I think. Just, I really liked that complexity. I liked all the different flavors. And this one isn't quite as complex. There's still some really good stuff going on, but like when I tasted like the lemon and the freshness later in that one, it was like, ooh, it's just fun. It was really fun to keep sipping it and find all these new flavors that were going on.
Yes.
But I do like that all of them are very easy to drink. Like honestly, sitting down with this, I thought some of them I might be making really funny faces as I was tasting them, but they're all really good and really pleasant.
There you go. So you guys out there, wife approved on them. They're that 100 proof range. Definitely going to be able to share them. And if your household's anything like mine, it's more likely you can buy it if she's going to enjoy it.
Fair enough. You come home, look, honey, it's something you'll like.
Yeah. So thanks for watching again. Appreciate it. Like I said, hit subscribe if you want to keep finding out about these. Keep giving us thumbs up and tell your friends about us. We really appreciate it. We enjoy doing this, and have a great night.
Thanks for having me as a guest.
Absolutely.